Find your way back home.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna talk about how to get abs, what to do step by step. I realized that I've talked a whole lot about how to get abs, but I never really gave you the full story, what I did step by step when I decided that I wanted to get abs. And you can have a lot of information on what to do to get abs in your head, but if you don't know what to do step by step, it can be a little challenging. And because I'm coming out with my new 7-day 10-minute ab challenge, I thought it would be super cool to give you the full rundown on what I did when I decided to get abs. So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. This is just what worked for me, so maybe something different is going to work for you. If you're serious about getting abs, I would suggest that you get a notebook out, because writing down the little notes that I share with you throughout this video might be super beneficial, so that you remember all the steps that could be helpful for you on this ab journey that you're about to go on. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. On New Year's 2 years ago, between 2017 and 2018, I decided that I wanted to get in the best shape of my life. I wanted abs and I wanted to lose 10 pounds. The first thing I did was I made a decision. I decided that I no longer wanted to be so sick and tired of never feeling good enough within my body, always feeling like my eating choices were a little off, or my exercise routine was always just kind of like going up and down, and me feeling good within my body was just never like feeling like my best self. So I decided, I made the decision that I no longer wanted to feel this way. I was gonna stick to my goal and stick to the plan that I would make and just fully go for it. I was like, I'm only gonna live one life and I don't wanna walk around always feeling like I could do more. So I would suggest that your step one is set a clear goal. This is the most important thing for me, was that I set a clear goal and I decided that I did not want anything to stop me. And so I really suggest that you sit down now, you write a clear goal on what is it that you want to achieve. This is what's gonna help you continue going when you feel like stopping, when you feel like it gets a little challenging, when you feel like, oh, I don't really want to go to the gym, or I really want this cupcake right now. And so setting that clear goal and setting that in the back of your mind will help you stay motivated and keep pushing through when it gets challenging. So this leads me to step number 2, which is building abs. And I did a bunch of research on this on YouTube. I took a personal trainer certificate and just like experimenting a lot with in my own body, figuring out what works for me, what doesn't work for me. It has taken me a couple of years to actually figure out the best way for me to have abs, and now I've learned so many things, and now I can just share it with you and you'll have everything in this video. So take notes. Tip number 1 is start off by building a really strong core. What I did for many years was doing a bunch of ab exercises at home. I didn't use any weight. I just started off by building a really strong core. And something that's really important if you're trying to build a strong core is that you use the correct form and the correct movement. So it's really important that you're not swinging when you're doing ab exercises, because if you do that, then other muscles will take over and you don't get that mind-muscle connection that you need in order to really build strong muscles and when you start adding weight onto your ab workout. So I do suggest that you start off by building a strong core with body weight exercises, and that is exactly why I'm doing this ab challenge, so that you can build a foundation and from there you can start adding on weight, and I'll explain that more later in this step. Another thing that's super important is that you get the full range of motion. If you're just doing small pulses, it won't help you as much as when you're doing full range of motion. Keep that in mind when you are building the foundation of your core strength. When you are trying to build any muscle, if that is your arms or your legs or any muscle in your body, then you have to use progressive overload, which is adding more weight over time so that you continuously stress the muscle and make it grow more over time. And you have to treat your abs just like any other muscle that you want to grow. You do need to start incorporating progressive overload when you are trying to build your abs. And what I did is I started adding weights to my ab workouts, and I saw massive results doing this. But I also did have my foundational core strength. You can't just go straight into trying to do ab workouts with 45 pounds, because then you're gonna get injured, and it just doesn't work that way. So we can progressively start adding more and more weight on week after week, and then our ab muscles will slowly start getting stronger and increasing in size, which means that they will become more visible. If you feel like the 7-day ab challenge was good for you, I would suggest you doing it maybe a couple more times until you build that really strong core, and then you can start adding on weights. I do sometimes do ab workouts at home when I don't have weights, and that works as well. It just burns my abs in a different way. But when I'm at the gym, I did start incorporating weight onto my ab workout to break down my muscles more so that they could re-strengthen themselves stronger than they were before. And then I started realizing the difference between upper ab exercises and lower ab exercises. And the reason that I thought that it was super cool to find out about that is because I had a tendency in the beginning to only work out my upper abs, and so finding out a way to switch up the two helped me see massive changes. And in this ab challenge that I'm doing, I'm gonna incorporate both so that we can build our overall strength in our abs. If we want to build our upper abs, then it's called like top to down, so we bring our shoulders towards our hips. But if we want to work our lower abs, it's bottom up, so that we bring our hips towards our shoulders as we're working out our abs. I sometimes like mixing those two up, where I both bring my shoulders and my hips towards each other. And there's a bunch of those kinds of exercises as well in the ab challenge, so be excited for that. And another thing I learned through studying abs is that dynamic movements are gonna give you more results than static movements. So that could be like, a static movement is like the plank, where you stay steady, and I love incorporating planks into my ab workout to give it like burn. But you need that dynamic kinds of movements as well, the full range of motion movements, to actually see the most results. The mix of the two, I believe, are great. But if you only do planks that are static, then you might not see as many results. That is what I've seen the most results with. Dynamic movements mixed sometimes with static movement. So all of these things were incredible knowledge for me to start building more visible abs. What I also knew was, in order to see my abs, they needed to be visible, and for them to be visible, my body fat percentage had to go down. Step 3 is that we're gonna be talking about nutrition. I always heard people talking about how if you wanted abs, then they're made in the kitchen, and I never really believed it. But then I did some research, and I decided to incorporate it, and I saw the results. And so now I 100% believe in that statement, even though it would annoy me like crazy before I'd made those changes to my diet. So now there's no way out. Now I know it's all about diet, and if I want to get visible abs, if I have a layer of fat on top of my abs, they won't be visible. And I was determined. At this point, in January 1st, 2018, I weighed 10 pounds more than what I do now, and I knew that in order to really truly achieve my results and lose that fat, I was gonna have to change my nutrition. Because what I realized is, if you have fat on top of your abs, then it won't feel like you have abs, because you can't see them. You might be able to feel them, but I was determined. I wanted this 100%. And so I realized that I needed to go all in, and I needed to lose some fat, and I needed to get on top of my diet. To lose fat or lose weight, we have to be in a caloric deficit. And you can do this in 2 different ways. You can either do this by lowering the amount of calories you eat in a day, or by exercising more. Just to give you an example of how hard it can be to be in a caloric deficit through exercise, if I go jogging for around 30 minutes or go to the gym for 45 minutes and work out my muscles, I burn around 250 calories. To give you an example, 250 calories is the same amount of calories that is in 1 Cliff Bar, in half a cup of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, or it could be 50 grams of chips, which is like barely anything. Or to give you examples of like the foods that we eat on a daily basis, it's the same amount of like 1 large potato of 1 bowl of rice or 2.5 spoons of peanut butter. And so I realized that I was already pretty active, and so if I wanted to lose weight, I needed to change my nutrition, and that is really something I suggest to everybody that get abs. And a really easy way to do this that I did is I cut out all sugar, I cut out all chips and all like unnecessary things from my diet. So what I did next was I went in and I calculated my approximate calorie expenditure, so how much energy I used throughout the day, and then I set a goal for how much calories I wanted to be in deficit in order to achieve my goal. I wrote that down, how many calories I could eat in a day. The next thing I did was I really did not want to be hungry, because me hungry is no fun. And a way to not be hungry is to eat high volume foods. And so I made a list of different foods that I could eat so that I could feel full and still get a lot of food in, but still stick to my calories. And what I did is I ate a bunch of delicious salads, a bunch of vegetables, and some protein. I ate oatmeal with protein powder. You should check out my other videos if you don't know about my oatmeal and protein powder yet, because that's something I do every morning now, and I usually also will do it as a snack at night. This time I wasn't plant-based yet, so I ate a lot of 0% Fage yogurt. I don't know exactly how to say that, but it's really good. F-A-G-E. And just like slowly started realizing all the foods that I could eat that would fill me up and also just give me a bunch of energy. And if you do not like vegetables, then try starting with the vegetables you dislike the least first, and then slowly I'm sure your taste buds are gonna get used to this taste. And honestly, I love my salads now. I didn't so much in the beginning, but now it's like the most delicious thing in the world. This might be a challenging change for you in the beginning. I promise you that it's only while you're losing calories that it's a little bit challenging, because once you've lost the weight or you lost the fat, then you can go back to eating the amount of calories that your body burns throughout the day. I actually got super positively surprised on how much food you can eat if you just eat the right things and still lose weight. You can almost eat more food if you eat healthy than what you did before. It's just a matter of what you eat. You'd get really surprised if you look up the nutritional values in the different foods you eat and make that change, and then how much food you can eat. At this point, I hadn't experienced this much, and I wasn't as aware of the things to be aware of. In my plan, I actually put 2 low calories, so I lost weight really, really fast. And if I'd known what I know today, I would have given myself much more time. I was just so determined, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this right now. The way I did it was actually unhealthy for my body. I lost weight a little bit too fast, and this caused probably more damage than just the fact that I lost a lot of muscle. But I did lose a lot of muscle on the way, because my body was just like losing everything all at once. I do suggest that don't go in too low of a calorie deficit. I would definitely speak with a specialist about this if you are trying to do this, and I definitely wouldn't go more than 500 calories in a deficit in a day, because it gets risky. Another mistake I made was that I didn't eat enough protein at the time. If you are going in a caloric deficit to lose weight, then it's important that you get enough protein to keep your muscle as you're losing fat. A lot of people give different numbers, but a good rule to stick by is at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That was another mistake I did. I didn't know at the time that this was the amount of protein I needed. I did eat a lot of protein, but not enough for me to hold on to my muscle mass. And so afterwards, when I had lost all the weight, afterwards I kind of had to start from scratch and build muscle again. So I really would hope that you don't make the same mistakes. I was so determined that nothing could stop me, but for a lot of people, if you go to the extreme, then it doesn't become a lifestyle. It just becomes like a torture phase, and it's harder to stick to. So if you do it, please be good to yourself while you're doing it, and speak to someone who knows how much in a deficit you especially should be. There's also a lot of websites online that can calculate this for you. Step 4 is that I accepted absolutely no excuses. I wanted this so badly that nothing could get in my way. I thought of the times where I had wanted something that seemed so out of reach, but I wanted it so badly that I made it work anyway. And one of the things I realized from my previous experiences was that I made no excuses. Even if I had had a 12-hour day, I would still make my way to the gym and I still would not eat that cookie at night. There was just no excuses. I really hope that you can think of a time where you wanted something so badly that you didn't take no for an answer and you didn't make any excuses. You got up and you did the work, and it ended up giving you the results that you were hoping for, because that really is the key. It's like commitment and sticking to it and just keep going even when it gets tough. I really believe that when you say I can't, it really means I won't. You're not willing to make the sacrifices that are necessary to make that change. Maybe if you start changing out the can't with won't and you realize that you actually won't, you're not willing to make these sacrifices, then what I want you to do is stop beating yourself in the head with it, because it is hard work. And maybe you're not willing to sacrifice your time with your family because that is more valuable to you. Then stop beating yourself up about it. A couple of changes that you can do and that you're willing to do, but don't give up what is most important to you to get something that you keep beating yourself up about. Just be honest to yourself. Or if you realize that you won't make the sacrifices because you will want to eat a burger every second day, or you want to watch Netflix for an hour every night instead of going to the gym, then maybe because you realize that it's about the fact that you won't, that maybe you are willing to make that change, and then be realistic about that. I continuously had to practice. Like if I was like, oh, I can't make it to the gym today, if I changed out the can't with won't, then I realized, oh, maybe I will want to make that a priority today, even if I'm tired. And I will not eat this cookie even though I want to, because I have a goal that's more important to me. The last step on my ab journey was that I gave myself love and motivation. I continuously feeded my mind with a bunch of motivational videos and photos and thoughts. I would watch a bunch of YouTube videos on this topic and on people living the life that I would want. And it's a difference between comparing or getting motivated. That's two very different things. And I got motivated. I saw it like a, oh, I'm so happy for this girl living this life. That is what I want too. On my phone, I had a screensaver of like this girl that was like super happy, joyful, and she had the body that I wanted and expressed the joy that I wanted to feel. So that was a big motivation for me. Every time I looked at my phone, I was like, oh, gotta get to work because this is the life I want. Another thing I did was I said affirmations to myself. I kept saying, I'm an athlete. I said, I have abs. I said, even though I did not want to, I said, I love my thighs. I said, I love my arms. I said, I love my abs. And eventually, when you say affirmations like that, you start believing in it. I said them every morning, I said them throughout the day, and I said them at night so that I really would start believing in that. And I still use that to this day. Now I have different affirmations. It's really powerful. So I would suggest that you write down 3 different affirmations that you would like to become a part of your life. And as I've said so many times, I really truly believe that we are a product of our beliefs. And so if you want this for real, you have to start believing that you're worthy of it and that you can do this. These are the things that I did step by step. What I realized by changing this aspect of my life is realize that you could do anything you put your mind to. And that's really my main goal about this, is that you realize that whatever you put your mind to, you can do. It's all possible. It's really just about what do you believe that you can do. Creating a plan, sticking to it, and pulling up when it's hard, pulling up when it's tough. And it can be tough, but acknowledge that it's tough and that you're able to do it anyway. Please comment below what you found was the most useful tip about getting abs, because I would like to know what is the best advice to give people that are wanting to get abs. If you help me out with that, then I would be really grateful. I wish you the best luck on my ab challenge. I really hope that you enjoy that and that that becomes the beginning of your ab journey. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and allow notifications.
I can't regret leaving you alone until you find your way back home.